up, guys? So I'm out here with the S6. As most of you know, this was the car that I bought from Copart, sight unseen, out of Colorado, assuming that it had bad turbos, which it turned out it did. Now, in the process of the whole build, I ended up throwing out the oil screens that, as you probably have heard if you're watching this video, most of the failures of these turbos on these cars has been traced back to the faulty design, where they had an oil screen that was too fine, it plugged up with junk, and ultimately starved the turbos of oil and caused the destruction that we see. So I looked at a couple different options. There's a revised version from Audi that a lot of guys are using. Some guys are punching holes in them. I tried that and I didn't like the result. When you punch through the metal screen, it left loose strands, and I was afraid that over time it would disintegrate and get those little metal strands into the bearings and wherever else and causing permanent damage. So what I opted to doing is just simply throwing out the screens. I have no screens in this engine. I've now put just over 4,300 miles on it. The last 3,000 having been on a road trip where I took it to the East Coast, up along the coast, and home in kind of a long weekend. So it was very hot when I did it. It was upper 90s, low 100 degrees pretty much the whole trip. So the oil was hot, perfect condition to burn oil if you're going to burn oil. Now most of it was on the highway, you know, cruising on the highway 80, 85. And then there was about a tank of fuel that I ran through on the back roads of Pennsylvania, where it was almost 100 degrees and we were running it hard. We really put it through its paces pretty good. So if anywhere, that should have used up some oil. So why don't we get in the car? Hopefully it won't be too dark. And let's see how much oil I burned. So when I left, I topped it off completely full. And let me get some light going in here. I topped it off. It was completely full, and now I left with 100,600 miles, a couple miles over. I now have, there we go, 103,645 miles. And right up there is the total I've had to put on the car since I've got it. So 4,333 miles. That is the total amount of miles I put on the car since I've got it, since I've had it fixed. But now moving on to the important stuff, how much oil did it use? So there we go. I am only about a quarter of a liter a quart low. Alright, so I apologize, it has gotten dark on me, but that is the result of running with no oil screens. As we can see, no additional oil consumption above what would be completely normal and accepted for a 100,000 mile engine. Pretty much all these turbo engines, whether you're talking the 2 liter, the 3 liter, which is I guess technically supercharged, they all, even across all their platforms, the turbo will use a little bit of oil. It's just the nature of a turbocharged engine. So we are completely 100% right in the normal. We are not burning any additional oil more than we should. In fact, I was kind of surprised that it didn't burn more than that. Being as how hot it was, how hard I ended up running it on some of those roads in the heat, I'm more than happy with it. So my recommendation to you guys is, if you are doing, which I do recommend it if you don't know the condition or when your oil screen was done, I definitely recommend, if you take it apart, just chuck the screen out and run with no screen. A good healthy quantity of maybe potentially dirty oil is still better for your turbos than limited to no oil that's been screened. So I personally don't think that screen does any good. Your oil filter is actually what takes the dirt out. There really should be no sludge coming up. I mean, what you see on that little screen after 30, 40, 50,000 miles, that is pretty much what would have gone through your turbo in that amount of time. Basically nothing. So again, that is my opinion. Take it at your own risk, do it at your own risk, but that is my findings and that is my opinion. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully it gives you some information to make an informed decision when you take yours apart, and I hope to see you in the next video.